The stars were quiet that night. Too quiet. Commander Zarek stood on the bridge of his warship, watching Earth through the viewing screen. His claws tapped against the metal rail. Behind him, 50 massive ships waited in the darkness of space. The Krellian Empire had arrived. This planet, Zarek said slowly, will fall in 3 days. His officers laughed. They had seen Earth's data. Primitive weapons, slow ships, divided nations that fought each other more than anyone else. These humans were weak. On Earth, nobody knew what was coming. In New York, people walked to work. In Tokyo, children played in parks. In London, cafes served morning coffee. It was a normal day, a peaceful day. Then the sky changed. Massive shadows covered the sun. People looked up and froze. Ships, hundreds of them, so large they blocked out the clouds. The world stopped breathing. Every screen on Earth suddenly showed the same image. Commander Zarek's face appeared. His eyes were cold. His voice was colder. Humans of Earth, I am Commander Zarek of the Krellian Empire. We have conquered 47 star systems. You are number 48. Surrender now, and you will live as our servants. Resist, and you will die. You have 1 hour to decide. The message ended. Silence filled the planet. In underground bunkers, deep beneath mountains, red lights started flashing. Military leaders ran to command centers. Presidents called emergency meetings. The hour was ticking away. Commander Zarek smiled on his ship. He had done this many times before. First came fear. Then came surrender. It always happened the same way. But 50 kilometers below Earth's surface, in a bunker that didn't exist on any map, something else was happening. General Sarachin stood before a massive metal door. Her hand shook slightly as she entered the code. The door opened with sound like thunder. Inside, machines hummed to life. Lights turned from red to green. Screens flickered on, showing locations across the entire planet. Are we really doing this? A young officer asked. General Chen's eyes were hard. They wanted to meet humanity. Now they will. She pressed a single button. Across the world, hidden bases received the same message. Activate Protocol Prometheus. The Krellians thought they knew everything about Earth. They were about to learn they knew nothing at all. The hour passed. Earth gave no answer. Commander Zarek laughed. They are too afraid to even speak. Begin the attack. The Krellian fleet moved forward like a storm of metal and fire. Their weapons charged. Their shields activated. This would be easy. On Earth, alarms screamed in every city. People ran to shelters. Soldiers took positions. Everyone knew what was coming. The first plasma blast hit London. Buildings exploded into fire and dust. People screamed. The city shook like an earthquake had struck it. Tokyo was next. Then New York. Then Mumbai. The aliens attacked 12 cities at once. Their weapons were powerful beyond anything humans had ever seen. Earth's jets flew up to fight. Missiles launched from the ground. Bullets filled the sky. Nothing worked. The alien shields were too strong. Human weapons bounced off like rain on stone. Jets exploded before they got close. Tanks melted under plasma fire. On the Krellian flagship, officers cheered. Just like the others, weak and helpless. Commander Zarek nodded. By tomorrow, they will beg for mercy. But something strange was happening. Human forces weren't fighting to win. They were fighting to delay. Fire a few shots, then retreat. Defend for 5 minutes, then fall back. Every unit followed the same pattern. Sir, a Krellian scout reported, the humans are evacuating their cities in strange directions. Not to shelters, not to escape routes. They're moving in patterns. Zarek waved his claw. Desperate animals always run before they die. Continue the assault. But deep underground, General Chen watched different screens. Green dots moved across maps. Every dot was a military unit. Every unit was exactly where it needed to be. Phase 1 complete, she said quietly. They've taken the bait. Around the world. Hidden doors open in mountains. Ancient bunkers that were built 50 years ago came alive. Satellite systems that nobody knew existed powered up in space. In the ocean, Submarines surfaced far from any land. But these weren't normal submarines. They were massive, experimental, secret, on the moon's dark side. A base that didn't officially exist turned on its lights for the first time in decades. The Krellian scanners detected nothing. Their technology was advanced, but humans had learned to hide things very well. Back on the flagship, Zarnax studied the battle reports. Something felt wrong. The humans lost every fight, but they weren't panicking. They weren't surrendering. They were organized. "Commander," another officer said nervously, "our scouts report unusual energy readings across the planet. Underground. We can't identify the source. Probably their power plants shutting down," Zarnax said, but his voice wasn't as confident as before. Far below Earth's surface, in a bunker older than most soldiers, something massive was waking up. Lights ran along walls for kilometers. Machines that hadn't moved in 50 years began to turn. A scientist looked at General Chun. "The Prometheus array is online. All systems are ready." Chun nodded slowly. "Good. Let them think they're winning. Let them come closer. Let them bring their entire fleet into position." She looked at the main screen, showing Krellian ships surrounding Earth. "They came here thinking we were prey." Her finger hovered over a red button. "Tomorrow, they learn what humans really are." Above the planet, Commander Zarnax went to sleep confident. His fleet was in perfect position. Earth was surrounded. Victory was certain. He didn't know that humans had been planning this moment for 50 years. He didn't know that every battle today was designed to make him confident. He didn't know that his perfect position was actually a trap. And he didn't know that deep underground, a weapon older than he could imagine was ready to fire. Day 2 began with silence. Commander Zarnax woke and checked his screens. Earth was still there, still surrounded, still helpless. He smiled. "Today we finish this," he told his officers. "Push into every major city. Destroy their military bases. By sunset, Earth will surrender." The Krellian fleet divided into attack groups. Each group targeted a different continent. They moved with confidence. Why wouldn't they? Yesterday proved humans couldn't fight back. The ships descended lower into Earth's atmosphere, closer to the cities, closer to the mountains, exactly where they needed to be. In her bunker, General Chun watched the alien ships move into position. Her heart was beating fast, but her hands were steady. "All units," she said into her radio. "Execute Phase 2. Across the planet, everything changed in 1 second. The Krellian ships suddenly went dark. Their screens flickered. Their communications died. Pilots shouted in confusion as their controls stopped responding. "What's happening?" Zarnax screamed. "Report." But nobody could report. Every radio was filled with static. Every scanner showed nothing but noise. The mighty Krellian fleet was blind and deaf. High above Earth, satellites that looked old and broken suddenly came alive. But these weren't normal satellites. They were jammers. Electromagnetic pulse generators. 50 years of human technology designed for one purpose: destroy alien communications. The Prometheus array had activated. On the ground, human forces stopped retreating. They turned around, and they attacked. From mountains across the world, massive doors opened. Railguns emerged. These weren't the small weapons from yesterday. These were experimental cannons built in secret, powered by nuclear reactors, strong enough to punch through alien shields. The first shot hit a Krellian battleship over Moscow. The ship's shield flickered once, twice, then shattered like glass. The second shot tore through the hull. The ship fell from the sky like a dying bird. "Impossible!" a Krellian officer shouted. Their weapons were weak. "Those weren't their weapons," someone whispered. "These are..." From the oceans, the massive submarines surfaced. Their hulls opened. Missiles launched. But these missiles didn't explode on impact. They released electromagnetic nets that wrapped around alien ships, pulling them down into the water. In the Atlantic Ocean, 3 Krellian destroyers crashed into the waves. Human naval ships surrounded them immediately. Plasma torpedoes finished what the net started. Zarnax's flagship shook from an impact. Alarm screamed. Red lights flashed everywhere. Shields at 60%, an officer yelled. We're taking fire from every direction. Impossible. Zarek grabbed the communication panel. All ships. Return fire. Destroy everything. But the ships couldn't coordinate without communications. Each one fought alone. Confused. Scared. Human forces had trained for this exact scenario. Every move was planned. Every trap was ready. In the skies over Beijing, human jets appeared. But these weren't the same jets from yesterday. These were the experimental models. Faster, more agile, armed with weapons that actually worked against alien armor. They swarmed the Krellian ships like angry wasps, dodging plasma fire, striking weak points, working together with perfect coordination. A Krellian pilot watched in horror as 5 human jets destroyed his wingmen. They're not fighting like yesterday. They know exactly where to hit us. Because they did know. For 50 years, humans studied every alien encounter ever recorded, every weakness, every pattern, every mistake. On the moon base, massive rail cannons fired. The shots traveled through space in silence. 3 Krellian ships in orbit never saw them coming. They exploded in balls of fire and metal. Zarek's hands shook as he watched his fleet fall apart. Ships crashed. Shields failed. Officers panicked. This isn't possible, he whispered. We saw their technology. It was primitive, weak. How? General Chen's voice suddenly came through every Krellian speaker. They didn't know how. Their communications were supposed to be jammed. Commander Zarek, she said calmly. Yesterday, we showed you what you expected to see. Today, you see what we really are. Zarek's blood turned cold. Retreat, he screamed. All ships, full retreat. Leave Earth's orbit immediately. The remaining Krellian ships turned to flee. Their engines burned at maximum power. But in her bunker, General Chun pressed another button. Around Earth's orbit, mines that had been floating in space for decades activated. They had been disguised as space debris, as dead satellites, as rocks. The fleeing Krellian ships flew right into them. Explosions lit up the darkness of space. More ships fell. More aliens died. Zarek's flagship barely escaped the minefield. He looked back at Earth. Half his fleet was gone. Just gone. In one day. Set course for the outer system, he said quietly. We need to regroup. We need to. Sir, his scanner officer interrupted. I'm detecting human ships pursuing us. What? That's impossible. They don't have faster-than-light travel. They do now, sir. From behind the moon, human warships appeared. New designs, built in secret stations, armed with weapons the Krellians had never seen before. Commander Zarek finally understood the truth. The terrible, horrible truth. Humans didn't spend 50 years trying to contact friendly aliens. They spent 50 years preparing for hostile ones. And they were very, very good at it. Commander Zarek's flagship limped through space. Behind him, human ships followed like shadows. Around him, his officers sat in shocked silence. How? Zarek whispered. How do we lose? Nobody answered. Nobody knew. But on Earth, General Chin stood in front of a massive screen. On it, images flickered. Images from Earth's past. Images that explained everything. Do you want to know our secret commander? She said into the communication channel. Let me show you. 50 years ago, Earth sent its first radio signals into space. Messages of peace. Greetings to the stars. Hope for friendship. But one scientist named Dr. James Carter didn't feel hopeful. He felt afraid. We're announcing ourselves to the universe, he told world leaders. But what if someone out there isn't friendly? What if they're hostile? Most people laughed at him. Why would aliens be hostile? They asked. Dr. Carter looked at human history books. At thousands of years of wars, conquests, empires, violence. Because, he said quietly, that's what intelligent species do. He proposed Project Prometheus, a secret program, not to contact aliens, but to prepare for the day aliens contacted us. And if they come in peace, a president asked, then we wasted some money, Dr. Carter replied. But if they come for war, we'll be ready. The project began, hidden from the public, funded by every nation on Earth. Because deep down, humanity knew the truth about itself. Humans were good at war, terribly good. General Chin walked through a holographic timeline. Images of human history surrounded her. Commander Zarek, your species conquered 47 worlds. Impressive. But do you know how many wars humanity has fought? She pressed a button. Numbers filled the screen. Over 14,000 recorded wars in our history. Some lasted days. Some lasted centuries. We've been fighting each other since we learned to pick up stones. Another image appeared. Ancient soldiers. Medieval knights. Modern armies. We created weapons from everything. Rocks. Metal. Fire. Chemicals. Atoms. We turned science into destruction. We turned peace into strategy. Zarek watched from his ship. His mouth was dry. Your empire conquered through superior technology and fear. Chun continued. You fought species that had never known war. Species that surrendered quickly. Species that didn't understand violence. She paused. You never fought a species that was born in violence, raised in war, perfected through thousands of years of killing each other. The hologram showed human history. City-states fighting, nations invading, empires rising and falling. Every century brought new weapons, new tactics, new ways to destroy enemies. We studied every battle we ever fought, Chin said. Every mistake, every victory, every trap, every strategy. Sun Tzu, Alexander, Napoleon, Rommel. We remember them all. Zarek thought about his own military training. It was simple. Overpower the enemy with superior ships. Show force. Demand surrender. It always worked. Until now. Your weakness, Commander, is that you never had to adapt. Every species you met was weaker than you. You never learned to fight an equal. You never needed to. Chen's voice grew harder. But humans? We've been fighting equals for millennia. Sometimes we were weaker. Sometimes we were stronger. But we always learned. We always adapted. We always survived. The hologram showed Project Prometheus. Scientists working. Engineers building. Soldiers training. For 50 years we prepared. We built weapons in secret. We created strategies for enemies we'd never met. We trained for scenarios that might never happen. Underground bases. Hidden satellites. Experimental ships. All built while the world above lived in peace. We studied every sci-fi movie. Every alien invasion story. Every possible weakness. We prepared for everything. Zarek's claws dug into his command chair. You planned all of this? For 50 years? Yes, Chin said simply. Because that's what humans do. We prepare. We plan. We survive. She showed him yesterday's battle. The one where humans lost. Every retreat was planned. Every failed defense was designed. We needed you confident. We needed you close. We needed your entire fleet in position. Zarek felt sick. Yesterday was bait. Yes, we studied your species for months after you entered our solar system. We knew how you conquered other worlds. Show overwhelming force. Accept quick surrender. You never expected resistance. The screen showed the Krellian battle formations, exactly where humans wanted them. We gave you an easy first day, made you believe Earth was weak, made you bring all your ships into our trap. Chen's face appeared on screen. Her eyes were cold. You came here thinking you were predators. But Commander, humans are apex predators. We've been hunting since we lived in caves. We've been killing since we learned to make fire. She leaned closer to the camera. The difference between you and us? You conquered peaceful species. We conquered each other. And survived. Zarek looked at his remaining ships. Less than half his fleet remained. His officers looked broken, afraid. For the first time in Krellian history, they felt like prey. So what now? Zarek asked quietly. You hunt us until we're extinct? General Chin was quiet for a moment. No, she finally said. Because despite everything, we learned something else over thousands of years of war. She pressed another button. The human ships stopped pursuing. We learned when to stop. The human ships stopped chasing. But they didn't leave. Commander Zarek watched them on a scanner. They formed a perfect circle around his fleet. Not attacking. Just watching. Waiting. Why did they stop? An officer whispered. Zarek didn't answer. He didn't know. And that scared him more than the attacks. On Earth, General Chen studied the battlefield display. Every Krellian ship was marked in red, every human ship in blue. The blue surrounded the red completely. General, a young officer asked, why do we finish them? Chen looked at him. Because war isn't just about killing. It's about sending messages. She opened a communication channel to all Krellian ships. Commander Zarek, you have two choices. Surrender and live, or run and die. You have 10 minutes to decide. The channel closed. On the Krellian flagship, panic spread. Officers argued. Some wanted to fight. Some wanted to flee. Some wanted to surrender. We are Krellian warriors, one officer shouted. We don't surrender to primitives. These aren't primitives. Another officer said quietly, looking at the destroyed ships on his screen. We underestimated them. Badly. Zarek closed his eyes. His pride wanted to fight. His training said never surrender. But his mind showed him the truth. They were beaten. All ships, he said slowly, painfully. Power down weapons. Lower shields. Commander, no, several officers protested. Do it. Zarek roared. I won't send more soldiers to die for my pride. One by one, Krellian ships went dark. Their weapons powered down. Their shields dropped. They surrendered. Human ships moved closer. Marines in armored suits boarded the alien vessels. The Krellians expected torture, execution, revenge. Instead, human medics treated their wounded. Engineers helped repair their life support systems. Soldiers gave them food and water. The Krellians were confused, terrified. This wasn't how conquerors behaved. Commander Zarek was brought to Earth. His hands were bound, but not painfully. Guards walked beside him. But they didn't strike him. He was taken to the underground command center. General Chen waited there. She was smaller than he expected, older, but her eyes held the weight of command. Sit, she said, pointing to a chair. Zarek sat. He expected interrogation. Pain. Death. Chen poured 2 cups of coffee and placed one in front of him. Drink. It's safe. Zarek stared at the cup. Why? Why what? Why show mercy? We came to conquer your world. We killed your people. We destroyed your cities. His voice shook. Why not kill us all? Chen took a sip of her coffee. Because we're human. And humans are complicated. She activated a screen. Images appeared. Not of battles. Of history. Yes, we're good at war. But we're also good at other things. Medicine, art, music, peace. The images showed hospitals, schools, families, children playing. We fight when we must. But we don't fight because we enjoy it. We fight to protect what we love. Zarek watched the images. Earth looked beautiful, peaceful, nothing like a warrior planet. Your empire conquered through fear, Chen continued. You enslaved species, made them serve you. Is that correct? Zarek nodded slowly. That's not what we want. We don't want an empire. We don't want slaves. We just want to be left alone. She leaned forward. But now we can't be left alone. Because you came here. And you'll report back to your empire. They'll send more ships. Bigger fleets. Won't they? Zarek said nothing. But his silence was answer enough. Chen nodded. That's what I thought. So here's what's going to happen. She stood and walked to a large map of the galaxy. You're going to go back to your empire. You're going to tell them exactly what happened here. Every detail. Every loss. Every defeat. They'll execute me for failure, Zarek said quietly. Maybe, Chen agreed, but they'll also think twice before attacking Earth again. She turned to face him. You're not our prisoner, Commander. You're our messenger. Zarek's eyes widened. You're releasing me? Yes. We're repairing your ships, giving you supplies, medical care for your wounded, and then you're going to leave. I don't understand. This is a trick. Chin shook her head. No trick. We're letting you go because we want your empire to know the truth about humanity. She walked closer to him. We didn't want this war. We would have preferred peace, trade, friendship, but you gave us war instead. So we showed you what humans do with war. Her voice grew cold. We perfected it. Zarek felt a chill run through his body. Go back to your empire, Chin said. Tell them Earth is not worth the cost. Tell them humans are dangerous. Tell them we have weapons they've never seen, technology they don't understand, strategies they can't predict. She leaned close. Tell them that if they come back, we won't show mercy next time. We won't stop at our orbit. We'll follow them home. We'll show them what total war really means. Zarek believed her, every word. But also tell them this. Chen's voice softened slightly. If they come in peace, we'll answer in peace. We don't want enemies. We don't want war. We just want to be ready if war comes. She extended her hand, a human gesture, a peace offering. Zarek looked at her hand for a long moment. Then slowly, carefully, he took it. 3 days later, the remaining Krellian fleet left Earth's orbit. Their ships were repaired. Their wounded were healed. Their dead were given proper burial in space. Commander Zarek looked back at the blue planet one last time. So beautiful, so peaceful, so deadly. Mark that system as forbidden, he told his navigator. Sol system, planet Earth. Status, extreme danger. Should I note the reason, Commander? Zarek thought about the past 3 days. The trap, the technology, the strategy, the mercy. Yes, he said quietly. Write this. Humanity is not advanced. They are not peaceful, but they are the most dangerous species we have ever encountered, because they have been practicing war for thousands of years, and they are very, very good at it. He paused. Also note, they show mercy to defeated enemies, treat them with honor. This makes them even more dangerous, because mercy is more terrifying than cruelty. The ship jumped to faster-than-light speed. Earth disappeared behind them. On Earth, General Chin watched them go. Around her, soldiers cheered. They had won, but Chin didn't cheer. She looked at the stars, at the infinite darkness, at all the species out there they still didn't know about. One battle won, she said quietly, but the war for humanity's survival has just begun. She turned to her officers. Double the production of warships, triple the training programs, expand the Prometheus array to cover the entire solar system. General, an officer said, they surrendered. We won. Why prepare for more? Chin looked at him. Because the Krellians weren't the strongest empire out there, just the first to find us. She walked to the window and looked up at the night sky. And now the galaxy knows we exist. Some will come as friends, some as enemies, but they will come. Her reflection in the glass looked tired, but determined. So we do what humans have always done. We prepare. We adapt. We survive. Outside, work crews began building new defenses. Scientists developed new weapons. Soldiers trained for battles yet to come. Because humanity learned its lesson well. Hope for peace, but prepare for war. Always prepare for war. 3 months passed. Commander Zarek's ship traveled through the darkness of space. Every day felt longer than the last. Every night brought nightmares of falling ships and human voices. Finally, they reached the Krellian homeworld, a massive planet covered in cities and military bases, the heart of an empire that ruled 47 star systems. Zarek's ship landed at the Imperial Command Center. Guards surrounded him immediately, his own people, but they looked at him with disgust. Commander Zarek, the High General said coldly, you return with half a fleet. Explain. Zarek stood straight. We underestimated Earth. Badly. Impossible. Their technology is primitive. Their weapons are weak. Our intelligence confirmed this. Your intelligence was wrong, Zarek said. Everything we saw was a lie, a trap. They showed us what we wanted to see. He uploaded his battle reports. The High General watched in silence. His expression changed from anger to confusion to fear. This cannot be real, the High General whispered. It's real, Zarek said. Every second of it. Humanity has been preparing for a hostile contact for 50 years. They built weapons in secret. They planned strategies we never imagined. They fought like nothing we've ever seen. The High General stood. Then we send the full armada, 10 times the ships. Destroy them completely. No, Zarek said firmly. What did you say? I said no. If we attack again, they'll destroy us. And then they'll follow us home. Zarek activated another file. General Chen's face appeared on screen. High General of the Krellian Empire, she said calmly. By now, Commander Zarek has shown you what happened at Earth. You're probably planning revenge. Planning a bigger attack. Let me save you the trouble. She pressed a button. Images filled the screen. Human ships. Hundreds of them. New designs. Weapons that glowed with strange energy. Stations being built around Jupiter, Mars, Saturn. The entire solar system was becoming a fortress. This is what we built in 3 months, Chen continued. Imagine what we'll build in a year, 5 years, 10 years. The High General's face went pale. We know you're not the only empire out there, Chen said. We've detected signals from 17 different civilizations. Some close, some far, all watching. All waiting. She leaned forward. So here's our message to you, and to anyone else listening. Her voice became harder, colder. Earth is protected. Humanity will defend itself. If you come in peace, you'll find friends. If you come for war, you'll find something far worse. Images of human history played. Ancient battles. World wars. Nuclear weapons. We are a species born in violence. We fought ourselves for thousands of years and survived. We turned our entire planet into a laboratory for war. Every strategy you can imagine, we've already tried. Every tactic you think is clever, we've already countered. The screen showed destroyed Krellian ships floating in space. We don't want war. We would prefer peace. Trade. Knowledge. Friendship. But if you force us to fight... Chen's eyes became ice. We'll show you what 10,000 years of warfare created. We'll show you what happens when a species that should have destroyed itself learns to work together instead. She stood. Behind her, soldiers stood at attention. Ships flew past windows. Weapons charged. This is our warning. This is our promise. Leave us alone, and we'll leave you alone. Attack us. She paused. And we'll teach you why humanity survived when we should have gone extinct long ago. The message ended. The High General sat down slowly. His hands shook. Around him, officers stood in shocked silence. What do we do? Someone asked. The High General looked at the star map, at Earth's location, at the tiny yellow sun called Sol. We mark it forbidden, he said quietly. We tell the Empire to avoid that system. We tell them humans are too dangerous, too unpredictable, too good at war, Zarek finished. The High General nodded. Yes, exactly that. Across the galaxy, other species received the same message. Some laughed at it, some studied it carefully, some feared it, but all of them noted Earth's location. All of them marked humanity as dangerous. The Valdorians, a peaceful trading species, were the first to approach Earth. They came with empty weapons and full cargo holds. They came offering trade, friendship, alliance. Humanity welcomed them with open arms. The Zytherian Collective, a military dictatorship, considered attacking Earth, but after reviewing the Krellian data, they decided to wait. Watch. Learn more before making any moves. The hive mind of Sector 7 simply avoided Earth's region of space entirely. Let the violent species fight each other, they said. We want no part of it. On Earth, life slowly returned to normal. Cities were rebuilt. Families mourned their dead. Memorials were constructed for those who fell. But the military never stopped preparing. New ships launched every month. New weapons were tested. New strategies developed. General Chen stood on the observation deck of humanity's first space station. It orbited Earth like a protective shield. Below, the planet glowed blue and green and beautiful. "Do you think they'll come back?" An officer asked her. Chen watched the stars. "Someone will. Maybe not the Krellians. But someone. The galaxy is too big. Too full of life. Eventually, someone else will decide to test us. And when they do," Chen smiled slightly, "we'll be ready. We're always ready." She thought about humanity's long history. The wars, the suffering, the survival, the adaptation. "You know what the Krellians never understood?" she said. "They thought our history of war made us dangerous. And they were right. But that's not the whole story." She pointed at Earth. "Our history of war also taught us cooperation, unity, sacrifice. We learned that working together is the only way to survive. We learned that peace is worth fighting for." The officer looked confused. "So, are we warriors or peacemakers?" "Both," Chen said. "That's what makes us human. We can be gentle and brutal, merciful and ruthless, peaceful and violent, whatever the situation requires." She turned from the window. The Krellians came seeking battle. They expected weak prey. Instead, they found a species that had been preparing for them since we first looked at the stars. And the next species that comes, they'll learn the same lesson, Chen said firmly. Humanity survived 10,000 years of fighting ourselves. We're not going to die to someone else. She walked toward the command center. Behind her, Earth continued to spin. Cities glowed with life. Ships patrolled the orbit. Satellites watched the darkness beyond. Humanity was ready. For friends. For enemies. For whatever came next. Because that's what humans do. We prepare. We adapt. We survive. And we never, ever stop watching the stars. Far across the galaxy, in a dark council chamber, ancient beings discussed a new discovery. Humanity, one said, they defeated the Krellians. "Should we be concerned?" another asked. 5 years had passed since the Krellian attack. Earth looked different now. Massive space stations orbited the planet like metal moons. Shipyards floated near Mars, building vessels that combined human engineering with alien technology. The moon had 3 permanent military bases. Humanity was no longer confined to one planet. But the biggest change wasn't in space. It was in the people. General Chen, now retired, walked through New York City. Where Krellian plasma had once destroyed buildings, new structures stood tall. But these buildings were different, stronger, built with lessons learned from war. Children played in parks. But now they learned about the stars in school, about other species, about diplomacy and defense. Every child knew Earth's history. Every child understood humanity's place in the galaxy. "General Chen," a voice called. She turned. A young woman ran toward her, wearing a uniform Chen recognized immediately. The new Space Defense Force. "Lieutenant Park," Chen smiled. "Shouldn't you be on station duty?" "I have a message for you, General. From the outer rim sensors." Chen's smile faded. "What kind of message?" "Unknown ships approaching." "But—" Park hesitated. "They're broadcasting peace signals, asking permission to enter our space." Chen's heart beat faster. "Which species?" "Not Krellian. The signal identifies them as the Lyran Federation. Our database shows they're a peaceful trading civilization." Chen nodded slowly. This was the moment humanity had been preparing for. Not another war, but first contact done right. Tell them they have permission to approach. But keep weapons ready. "Yes, General." At the orbital command station, Admiral James Rodriguez watched the alien ships approach. They were beautiful, elegant, nothing like the Krellian warships. These ships looked designed for travel, not war. "Open communications," he ordered. The screen flickered. A face appeared. Not human, not Krellian. Something else entirely. Large eyes, soft features, a gentle expression. "Greetings, humans of Earth." The alien said in perfect English, "I am Ambassador Lyra of the Lyran Federation. We come in peace." Rodriguez studied the alien carefully. Ambassador, welcome to our space. Forgive our caution, but our last visitors weren't so peaceful. Lyra's expression became sad. Yes, we heard about the Krellian attack, their defeat, the message you sent. She paused. That's why we're here. To test us? No, to thank you. Rodriguez wasn't expecting that. Thank us? The Krellians conquered many species before you, including several of our colony worlds. We couldn't stop them. We're not warriors. Lyra's eyes showed pain. But you stopped them. You showed the galaxy that the Krellians can be beaten. She leaned forward. Since your victory, 3 species have rebelled against Krellian rule. 2 have succeeded. The Empire is weakening, falling apart, because of what you did. Rodriguez sat back. He never thought about it that way. Humanity didn't just defend itself. It changed the balance of power in the galaxy. We don't want gratitude, Rodriguez said carefully. We just wanted to survive. We know, Lyra said. We studied your broadcasts, your history, your message to the galaxy. You're not conquerors. You're defenders. That's rare. Special. What do you want from us, Ambassador? Lyra smiled. Trade. Knowledge. Friendship. We have technology you need. You have something we need even more. What's that? Protection. Alliance. The galaxy is dangerous. The Krellians aren't the worst threat out there. But together, peaceful species can survive, can thrive. Rodriguez looked at his officers. They nodded. This was expected. Planned for. Humanity knew that isolation wasn't possible anymore. We'll need to discuss this with our leaders, Rodriguez said. But Earth is willing to talk, to negotiate, to build something better than war. That's all we ask, Lyra said. On Earth, General Chin watched the negotiations on screens. Around her, other retired military leaders observed silently. It's really happening, one said. First contact, real contact, peaceful contact. Yes, Chin agreed, but stay alert. The Lyran seem genuine, but we verify everything. Trust slowly. Prepare constantly. Always preparing. Another general laughed. That's the human way. Chin smiled. It kept us alive this long. 3 months later, the first trade agreement was signed. Lyran medical technology for human defensive systems. Lyran star charts for human manufacturing techniques. Both species benefited. Both species grew stronger. But humanity didn't lower its guard. More stations were built. More ships launched. More soldiers trained. Because the galaxy was big, and not everyone would be as friendly as the Lyrans. Commander Zarek heard about the alliance from his exile on a remote Krellian outpost. He wasn't surprised. Humans were smart. They turned enemies into lessons and strangers into allies. He wrote in his journal, I warned the Empire. I told them Earth was dangerous. Not because humans love war, but because they're good at everything they try. War, peace, diplomacy, survival. They adapt faster than any species I've studied. The Empire didn't listen. Now we're paying the price. He looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, humanity was growing, expanding, learning, becoming stronger. I hope they remember mercy, he wrote. When they're finally strong enough to seek revenge, I hope they remember they showed us mercy once. I hope they remain the complicated species that defeated us, warriors when needed, peacemakers when possible. He closed his journal. Because if humanity ever decides to become conquerors, the galaxy won't survive. Back on Earth, in a quiet park, the young girl who once asked about aliens now sat with her father again. She was older now, smarter. She wore a school uniform with a patch showing Earth and stars. Father, she said, my teacher says we're part of the galaxy now, part of something bigger. That's right, he said. Are you scared? He thought about the question. 5 years ago, he would have said yes. But now, no, he said. I'm hopeful. We prove we can defend ourselves. Now we're proving we can be good neighbors, too. What if more bad aliens come? Then we'll deal with them, together, with our new friends. with our weapons and our strategies and our mercy. The girl smiled. I want to join the Space Force when I grow up. To fight? No. To protect. There's a difference, right? Yes, the first replied. But not because they're strong. Because they're smart. They learn. They adapt. They don't repeat mistakes. So what do? Long silence filled the chamber. We watch, the eldest finally said. We wait, and we hope they remember mercy when they finally reach our borders. You think it'll expand? All species expand. It's the nature of intelligent life. The question isn't if humanity will reach the stars. The question is what kind of species they'll be when they do. The council looked at reports from Earth, images of humans helping Krellian wounded, humans rebuilding cities, humans teaching their children about peace while training their soldiers for war. Complicated species. One observed. Dangerous species. Another added. Perhaps, the eldest said, or perhaps they're exactly what the galaxy needs. A species that knows war but chooses peace. A species that can fight but prefers not to. A species that remembers mercy even in victory. The eldest turned off the displays, marked them for observation, send no contact for now. Let them grow. Let them develop. Let them show us who they truly are. And if they become hostile, then we'll deal with them. But somehow, the eldest looked at Earth's image one more time. I don't think they will be. They've spent too long fighting themselves to want to fight the galaxy. On Earth, a child looked up at the stars and asked her father, Are there aliens out there? Her father smiled. Yes, probably many. Are they friendly? He thought about the Krellian attack, the battle, the victory, the mercy shown afterward. Some are, some aren't, but we'll be okay. How do you know? He picked her up and pointed at the sky. Because humanity learned something important. We learned that the best way to avoid war is to be too strong to attack. And the best way to find peace is to be ready for war. That doesn't make sense, the child said. I know, he laughed. But that's humanity for you. We're complicated. The child looked at the stars with wonder. Somewhere up there, species were watching Earth. Some with fear, some with respect, some with curiosity. All of them wondering the same thing. What will humanity become? The answer was simple. Whatever we needed to be. Warriors when threatened. Peacemakers when possible. Survivors always, because they came seeking battle. And humanity gave them something they never expected. A lesson they would never forget. Her father hugged her. Yes, that's exactly the difference. And that's why humanity will be okay. Above them, ships moved across the sky. Human ships. Lyran ships. Flying together. Patrolling together. Learning from each other. General Chun watched the same sky from her apartment. She was old now, tired, but satisfied. Humanity survived first contact, survived war, and now, maybe, just maybe, they would thrive in peace. Her communication device beeped. A message from Admiral Rodriguez. General, thought you should know. We detected 17 more species observing our space. Some friendly, some unknown, some potentially hostile. Recommend continued preparation and expansion of defense systems. Chin smiled and typed back, Approved. Humanity stays ready. Always ready. She looked at the stars one more time. They came seeking battle 5 years ago. They found warriors. Now others came seeking peace. They found diplomats. Tomorrow, someone might come seeking conquest. They would find defenders. Because humanity learned the greatest lesson of all. Be ready for anything. Prepare for everything. But never lose sight of who you are. Warriors. Peacemakers. Survivors. Humans. Complicated. Dangerous. Hopeful. And finally, ready for whatever the galaxy held. The message humanity sent 5 years ago still echoed through space. Come in peace. Find friends. Come for war. Find warriors. So far, the galaxy was listening. And humanity? Humanity kept watching the stars. Building. Preparing. Growing. Just in case. Because that's what humans do.